Hello, I am Michael Marsh. Welcome to the program dedicated to reestablishing our constitutional republic, both in Oregon and in the United States. My guest today is Mark Callahan, who is chief petitioner on what is measure
Initiative
IP
Petition 52.
52.
Yep.
And last time I had you on the program, about a month ago, you had a IP initiative petition,
43.
43.
Yep.
So what happened?
Okay, so yeah, the Initiative Petition 43, basically the breakdown on that one is, we gathered our signatures. We actually turned in about over 2,900 signatures for our sponsorship signatures.
IP 43
was to repeal the Equal Access to Roads Act, which was formerly known as HB 2015. HB 2015 was in the legislature this last session. It basically gave driving privileges to illegal aliens. And we thought that, the other chief petitioner and I, Angela Roman, thought that that wasn't right for them to do because 5 years ago, 2014, 66% of Oregon and 35 out of 36 counties voted against giving driver's licenses or driver's cards at that time to illegal aliens by voting no on ballot measure 88. So we filed IP 43 a few days after Governor Brown signed it into law on August 9th. We filed on August 14th. We got our 1,000 sponsorship signatures. Actually, as we turned in over 2,900 sponsorship signatures. We were kind of in the waiting game after that to get our draft ballot title. We had to go through the comment process. And on October 23rd, we were supposed to get our certified ballot title from the Attorney General or Oregon Secretary of State office, but they shortcutted us. They shortcutted us by basically on October 22nd, they said, oh yeah, we're canceling your petition. I said, what? Come on, really? So basically the reason they gave that they canceled the petition was that we didn't provide the full text of House Bill 2015, or what's now known as the Equal Access to Roads Act, which is 18 pages long. So this was a technicality. So basically, at that point, we had two options. So one, we could either sue the Secretary of State's office saying, no, this is not right, you know, what you're doing is wrong, it's purely political here. Or two, we could refile. Well, being that we didn't have a lot of money, and filing a lawsuit against the Oregon Secretary of State or State of Oregon costs a lot of money. Yeah. Angela Roman and I decided to do the second option, which was to refile and we were now given what's now being called IP 52 or Initiative Petition 52. Basically does the same thing, but it's modified. It's modified, and we scaled it down. We revised it. So basically, IP 52 is, we're not repealing the whole law this time. We're basically we're taking a playbook out of Trump's playbook, basically, or a page out of Trump's playbook in this case, where the best analogy and example I can give you is that, remember back in 2009, when Obamacare, or what's now erroneously called the Affordable Care Act, erroneously called it, remember when that had the individual mandate in it. Yeah. So individual mandate, as people are aware, required people to buy health insurance. Well, obviously that's unconstitutional. It went to the Supreme Court. It was judged to be a tax. So, and that's how they got around saying it's unconstitutional. So basically what Trump did, I think it was back in 2017, in the tax reform bill, being that the Obamacare or Affordable Care Act was a tax, he basically repealed the individual mandate as part of that tax, or amending that tax. So he basically took the guts. He basically took the meat out of the Affordable Care Act, and now it can't be enforced because basically it doesn't require everyone to have health insurance or to buy health insurance. So therefore the law is eventually going to collapse because it doesn't have the funding to actually support it. So I say that analogy ahead of time by basically saying, and making an analogy to what we're doing with IP 52 is in the fact that we gave it a shot in IP 43 to repeal the whole thing. Basically took a big bite, right? Yeah. Well, we realized that we need to take a little bit smaller bite. So what we're doing is Angela Roman and I went through the bill, HB 2015, or what's now the Equal Access to Roads Act, and we picked out 4 Oregon revised statutes that are literally the meat or the core or the guts of House Bill 2015 or Equal Access to Roads Act, right? And we put the full text of those 4 ORSs in IP52's language. Yeah. So we can't be accused anymore of saying, oh, provide the full text. Well, there it is. Here's the full text. So, I mean, right here. So we have the full text of the full 4 ORSs that we want to repeal, or actually repeal and restore, basically back to what it was in 2015 before House Bill 2015, or restore back to what it was in 2017, Oregon Laws 2017, as opposed to Oregon Laws 2019, which now has the amendments to those 4 ORSs. So basically the crux of those 4 ORSs, I can read one to you here. What was changed is, for example, ORS 807.021 subsection 1. It says, except as provided in ORS 807.310 or subsection 5 and 807.405 subsection 4 prior to, and then before issuing. This is the amended text, what HB 2015 did to this particular ORS. It says, before issuing, renewing, or replacing a driver's license, driver's permit, or identification card, the Department of Transportation shall require a person to provide a Social Security number assigned to the person by the United States Social Security Administration. And then this is the amendment part that we want to wipe out. We want to wipe out the fact that it says, or a written statement that a person has not been assigned a Social Security number. And then the rest of the law goes on, and proof of legal presence of the United States, or if the person is not eligible for a Social Security number, proof of the legal presence of the United States, and proof that the person is not eligible for a Social Security number. So basically what 2015 did in these 4 ORS is it added a very similar statement, if not the same statement, of stating a written statement that the person has not been assigned a Social Security number. Well, we all kind of know, I mean, it's common knowledge. We all kind of know that if a person has not been assigned a Social Security number, they're more than likely an illegal alien. So this is the loophole that they're actually getting through to give illegal aliens driver's licenses in Oregon. Yeah. So we want to take that out, and we want to restore it back to the Oregon Laws 2017 version that does not have that statement in it. Yeah. And that's what we're doing in all 4 of those ORSs.
Yeah, and the American citizens that would not have that probably wouldn't have a driver's license anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the other side will say, well, what about senior citizens and the elderly? Well, if they're getting Social Security income, they have a Social Security number, for one, you know, so that's how you fight that one back. And 2, I mean, people have Social Security numbers. That's what we have nowadays. That's how our society works, you know. But it's this loophole that you could literally go into DMV, write on a Post-it note or piece of paper or something. Well, I've not been assigned a Social Security number, or it says a written statement that the person not been assigned a Social Security number. So you write on a piece of paper and say, here you go, DMV, I have this piece of paper.
Yeah.
Give me a license now. You know, well, you know, you're an illegal alien, and that's not right, and people don't want illegal aliens driving on the road, especially when there was, I think, was it 80,000 illegal aliens that were driving drunk or got pulled over for DUI and killed people in our country. And so that's 80,000 lives that were sacrificed, American lives that were sacrificed because illegal aliens are in our country illegally, and they're driving drunk and they're breaking our laws. So what if they can break our laws to get in the country in the first place? What makes you think they're actually going to want to follow the rest of our laws to actually be here and do things legally? It doesn't make any sense. So this is why we need to restore what the voters of Oregon voted against, i.e. giving driver's licenses to illegals. We need to get that back in terms of not giving illegal aliens driver's licenses like Oregon wanted to back in 2014.
Yeah, so that is what the people voted on.
Exactly.
So what other, you said there were 4
So basically the full 4 Oregon revised statutes, they're all kind of similar in nature, but they all have that text of a written statement that a person has not been assigned a Social Security number, and we want to restore that back to that's in the Oregon Laws 2019 version, and we want to restore that back to the Oregon Laws 2017 version that does not have that statement. So that's what those 4 ORSs are. We did put a kind of a summary statement on the end, which I do thank Representative Mike Neerman for helping me out with this. But our summary statement on the end pretty much sums up what we're trying to do. Basically, it says, notwithstanding any provision to the contrary, the state of Oregon shall not issue any driving right or privilege, nor identification, to any person who fails to provide proof of citizenship or legal presence in the United States. So that's kind of sums up what we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, it makes it easy to understand that way. And the reason why we put the four ORSs in IP52, the full text of them, because we don't want to get our, we don't want to be dinged again saying, oh, well, you didn't put the full text in. Well, we learned from IP43. So IP43 was kind of a learning experience, but in IP52 we revised it. We're not taking as big as bite, but we're still going to do the same thing. So.
Okay. So how far along are you on getting 52?
Basically, right now we are in the sponsorship signature phase. We have put it out there on Facebook, on our website at stopillegaldrivers.com, where people can go to download the ballot text, the cover sheet, and the 10-line initiative petition. And basically, what we're encouraging people to do is go to stopillegaldrivers.com, download all three of those. There's an instructional video on how to actually copy it on each side and then staple it together basically up at the corner. I made the instructional video myself. But we're encouraging people to go to stopillegaldrivers.com, download the ballot text, the cover sheet, and the initiative petition, put them together like it says in the instructional video, and then get signatures and turn those in as fast as possible. And they can mail them to me or Angela, Angela Roman. My mailing address is P.O. Box 651, Oregon City, Oregon 97045. Sorry. Or they can just email or send them to my house too. My address is on the actual initiative petition itself on the cover sheet. So we're encouraging people to get those in as fast as possible so we can turn in our 1,000 sponsorship signatures. And then we'll be in the process again. We're waiting for a draft ballot title. Got to go through the comment process, and then hopefully, cross your fingers, hopefully this time we'll get a certified ballot title, being that we follow the rules in terms of providing the full text.
Now, you have people to download. Now, the last session of the legislature, same legislature that passed the, quote, accessible roads, unquote, law, they had a bill that kind of outlawed
E-sheets, yep. I know exactly what you're talking about. So basically that was Senate Bill 761. So Senate Bill 761 has specific details on e-sheets, for example. The Secretary of State's office was against it. She commented against it on her website. And basically what we're doing is we're going to follow the templates. Once we're given templates to collect the rest of the 112,000 signatures that we need before July of 2020, we're going to follow the templates that are required after we get our certified ballot title from the Secretary of State's office. And we'll just have to copy as many pages as required for that to follow that Senate Bill 761, which goes into effect January 1st, 2020. But there's a good thing in terms of, well, our whole initiative petition fits on one side of one page, and that includes the full text of the 4 ORSs that we're trying to repeal and restore. So basically, we don't have to print out the 17 to 18 pages with all the petition sheets that we have. Because it all fits on one side of one page. And as long as it's 10-point font, this is 10-point font, and it fits on one side of one page, it's going to make it really, really easy. I mean, what I'm kind of puzzled about is, I mean, we live in Oregon, and we have a bunch of environmentalists saying, oh, no, we can't cut down the trees. Well, let's see. By making us print out multiple pages for an initiative petition, and make paper out of it. Granted, it's great for Oregon industry, and it's great for the loggers because they're cutting down trees in order to make the paper to print out and so people can print out the ballot title or the ballot text of the things that we want to repeal, right?
Yeah.
So they have to print out the full thing, which is like 17, 18 pages. Well, that was kind of the deterrent.
Yeah.
But we found a way around that in terms of just fitting everything on one page, one side of one page, 10-point font, like it's required, but it's we don't have multiple pages. So hopefully we can get around that, but it's we're going to follow the law, obviously.
Yeah.
And basically, once we get our certified ballot title from the Secretary of State, probably about mid-January, we'll do whatever is required for the templates that they send us.
So the law doesn't prohibit you from doing what you're doing right now.
Oh, no. Yeah, the law hasn't gone into effect yet.
Oh, that's
so,
why.
I mean,
when does it go into effect?
It goes into effect January 1st.
Okay, so you got to get
Well, the
done
Senate Bill
before that.
761 law goes into effect January 1st. The HB 2015 or Equal Access to Roads Act, for some reason, this is what puzzled me. I mean, I don't know what the liberals were thinking on this one, but basically they put an emergency clause on it to prevent people from doing a referendum, right? But the law technically does not go into effect until January 1st, 2021. So if it's an emergency, then why don't you want it to go effect for another year and 2 months? It doesn't make any sense. So we had considered, though, doing this initiative petition for the 2022 general election, but we figured by that point there would be a lot of illegal aliens that had already been getting driver's licenses as a result of the new laws taking effect 2021. So it would be too difficult to actually revoke those licenses. Yeah. I mean, our police and
they got better things.
Yeah, they got better things to do, basically. But our police and our Border Patrol and our ICE agents are having a tough enough time finding illegal aliens now.
Yeah.
Are they really going to go around and round up people for having driver's licenses that are illegal aliens after the law goes into effect? So we wanted to basically, and it would be a lot of extra expense, basically, because you got court costs. Police have to arrest them, and basically contact ICE. Well, wait a second, we can't contact ICE because Oregon is a sanctuary state. Thank you, Kate Brown and the liberals in the legislature, but I'm being facetious and sarcastic when I'm saying that, of course.
I assume you support the recall effort?
Yeah, darn right I would. I was like one of the first, I'd sign that as fast as I could. So, but basically, yeah, I mean, because Oregon is a sanctuary state, it would be very, very difficult to revoke the licenses given to illegal aliens after 2021, and so that's why we're doing it now. That's why we're doing it in 2020, because we basically want to save the taxpayer lots of money in terms of legal costs and stuff like that, in terms of revoking those licenses. So
yeah, it'd be just about impossible to revoke once they got them.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's like taking away candy from a baby. I'm not saying illegal aliens are babies. Well, some of them are, but I mean, the point is, if you give something to someone, then you take it back. It's a lot harder to take it back, and so that's why we're doing this in 2020 as opposed to 2022, and we're going to get these signatures as fast as we can. So,
but that also brings up another issue. 2021, and it goes into effect, but yet it has an emergency clause.
Yeah, exactly.
Common sense says that the emergency clause is being misused here.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Mike Neerman, actually, him and another gentleman, I think, are putting forward a no fake emergencies similar ballot measure in 2022. I think they've actually filed for it already, but yeah, basically we tried that, and I mean, I think they're gonna try it again. But yeah, the emergency clause is being abused at this point, because basically they're using the emergency clause to give the big middle finger to the voters.
Oh yeah.
And they're saying, ha ha ha, we're smarter and better than you in the legislature, and so we're not going to allow you voters that we're supposed to be representing to actually refer things that we do as the smart legislators in the Oregon legislature, Again, I'm being facetious and sarcastic, but the point is, they're basically the legislature, especially the liberal Democrat legislators, basically saying they're thumbing the nose at the voters and saying, ha ha ha, we're better than you, and they don't want their laws referred to the voters, because the voters will say, you work for us state legislators, we're repealing. It's just like they did with ballot measure 88 when it was referred to, or what used to be Senate Bill 833. But it became ballot measure 88, and the voters voted no on it. As I said, 66%, by over 66%, in 35 out of 36 counties, you kind of have to dismiss Multnomah County
Yeah.
because Multnomah County is the only county that voted, I think they voted like 45 to 55% for ballot measure 88 as opposed to against it like the rest of the state. So,
And even that probably closer than people expect.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's I don't know what's in the water up there in Multnomah County, but I mean, when 35 out of 36 counties in Oregon vote against something and only Multnomah County votes for something, yeah, and most of our state legislators are up in Multnomah County. In fact, the guy that actually put forward House Bill 2015, Diego Hernandez, and I think it's Teresa Alonso Leon or whatever it is.
Oh,
they were
local.
Yeah, they were co-sponsors on this, right? Yeah. Well, I know Diego Hernandez. He represents, I think, Northeast Portland or something like that. Yeah. He actually put forward House Bill 2015 and caused this whole mess in the first place.
Yeah, Alfonso, she's House District 22, which is Northeast Salem, and it goes up the I-5 corridor up to Woodburn.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, but it's we got to tell these state legislators that are misbehaving. We got to tell them no.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the voters of Oregon, as I said back in 2014, overturned the legislature. The legislature wanted this in Senate Bill 833 that they passed, and eventually was signed into law by, was it Kitzhoffer at that time or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
But and so the Oregon legislature overturned the will of the voters. The voters fought back by voting no on Measure 88. Then the legislature basically said, you know what, we're going to give you the big middle finger to the voters, and we're going to pass House Bill 2015, corrupt Kate Brown, signed into law. And basically they said, yeah, Kate Brown's giving the middle finger to voters too. You know, and the legislature just gave the middle finger to voters too. So, I mean, and this is why Kate Brown went through that recall. Unfortunately, we didn't get enough signatures on that one, but I mean, I think from what I've heard, they're actually going to make a second attempt at it. So,
which I wish them well. I know the recall efforts that I've been involved in, they collapsed. You know, when you tried to do them again, they weren't as good as the first. But there is some
there's some discontent out there from what I've heard. Yeah. I mean, I'm on Facebook myself. I'm on Twitter myself. So I follow social media. You know, and I mean, I think Bill Courier did a great job, and in terms of his efforts to Bill Courier being the Oregon Republican Party chairman. I think he did a great job. I think Oregon Republican Party itself did a great job with all the volunteers they had in the office. Shout out to the two Carols, Zelinsky and Williams, for helping out with that, as well as other people as well. But basically, I think that they did the best they could under the circumstances they were under. And I think, what is it, like 258,000 signatures were received? Or something like that, yeah. And they needed 288,000, I think. So they were a little bit short, but I mean, it was a valiant effort by Oregon Republican Party, and especially the chief petitioner, Bill Courier. And so he's a great guy. I met him myself. I've known him for several years here. I've ran for other offices before, but I think he made a valiant effort, and I think that if we can get the second one going here, and we can get the 288,000 signatures for that recall, that'll be complementary to what we're trying to do with IP52, because I can tell you straight up, Michael, I mean, the voters of Oregon are pissed off with the legislature right now. I mean, I'll tell you straight up, yeah, exactly. The Oregon legislature basically is thumbing their nose at the voters, and they're basically saying they're better than us for some reason, which they're not. They're supposed to be working for us. I'm their boss. Yeah. The voters of Oregon are the bosses of the Oregon legislature. And some of the people, especially the liberal Democrats in the legislature, the far lefties, are so pent up with this anti-Trump stuff and, oh no, we can't do that, you know, it's all racist. Well, it's when they say something racist, obviously wanting to shut down the conversation. Yeah. They don't want to have a conversation. Oh yeah, we'll just blame it on being racist. It's not racist. It's the will of the voters of Oregon. You know, so you're basically, by saying it's racist, you're basically insulting the 66% of all the voters in Oregon in 35 out of 36 counties. Yeah. It's not racist. Voters of Oregon basically have common sense. We know what's right and wrong. the legislature, especially the far lefties in the legislature, don't know what's right and wrong. But believe me, I don't know how they got in the legislature. They don't know the difference between right and wrong. But the point is, you know, you can't have people breaking into our country, breaking our laws, and be on our roads. You know, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I agree. I had something I was going to ask, and then I forgot while I was listening.
Oh, no worries. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get
okay.
kind of rambling going, you know.
That's
So,
okay.
yeah.
So this is one of the two laws that were passed in the last legislature that really insulted the people of Oregon,
Mm-hmm.
the voters of Oregon.
Yep.
And this was one of them.
I believe so. Yeah.
You know, over 60% said they didn't want it, and you know, like I said, 35 out of 36 counties,
Mm-hmm.
they said they didn't want it, and the legislature, you know, like I said, give them the middle finger to the Oregon voters.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one was the national popular vote.
Oh yeah. Jeez. Well, basically, yeah. I'm now disenfranchised myself. I'm a Republican. I voted for Trump. I'm going to vote for Trump again,
Yeah.
and now I'm disenfranchised and I even talked to my state legislator about this. My state legislator is Mark Meek.
Yeah.
I'm in District 40 up in Oregon City, and I talked to him about this. I said, Mark, you know, I called you about this prior to your vote, and you still voted for it anyway.
Yeah.
Idiot. Come on, really? And so, I mean, it's basically national popular vote. It disenfranchises me as a Republican, for one, because I know that my vote for president will never count anyway, because basically it's going to be overrode by all the other people's votes in all these other liberal states that aren't even in Oregon.
Yeah.
You know, voting for whoever the Democrat clown that they put through the primary the next year is. You know, and basically my vote's not going to count. So.
You're the campaign manager for Angela Roman, who's also on this initiative. Now, are you going to be able to do both the initiative process and the running for Congress, or do you think it'd be better to concentrate?
Well, that's why
on
we're
the
keeping everything
petition?
separate. Basically, we have separate bank accounts. They're actually at two different banks. I mean, and then anything, we're not putting any campaign stuff on like the Facebook page for Angela.
Yeah.
She can retweet and share the Stop Illegal Drivers stuff on her page, but we're not actually using the Stop Illegal Drivers as an extension of her campaign. So it's all separate, and we're running two separate things. Basically, we think this is the right thing to do, and we're doing it because her opponents. She has two opponents in the Republican primary.
Yeah.
I mean, they're typical politicians, is what they are. Typical politicians. They talk, and talk. Say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. But you have to get me in there first. Well, let's see. People are sick and tired of all the talking. People want doers. People want people to take action. The people that represent them, and Oregonians that want representatives in Congress to represent them, want to see some action taken. They don't want to just see people talk all the time. Promise this, promise that, and when they get to Congress, they basically give the middle finger to the voters again, which is not what we wanted a person to represent us. So basically, by Angela helping out with this as a chief petitioner, she's actually taking action. She's putting her money where her mouth is. She's putting her action where her mouth is. And what she's doing is saying, okay, I worked hard to get this repealed. So, and this is what I'm doing to stop illegal immigration in Oregon.
Okay, our time's up, so thanks for coming on and sharing this information with us.
Yep.
And good luck on the initiative.
All right, thank you.